everybody. Welcome to Let's Chat on Sunday. I'm just as professional as ever as I get set up here. But hello, everyone. And thank you, Spirit Detective. I haven't done anything yet. Oh, okay. You were the Easter orb. Okay. Yeah, that was amazing. It was a rainbow colored orb, and it looks like you've discovered it's archangels. And that's kind of, I didn't get exactly that, but I got definitely angelic energy through all of that. So I'm glad that that worked out. Good. Well, welcome everybody. And today is a day where I just kind of answer your spiritual questions or world questions or whatever you want to talk about. I don't usually do politics today, but I do, answer any of your just things you're wondering about. And if you ask a personal question, I kind of try to make it more general so that it kind of can talk to all of us. Thank you, Rebecca Rios, for letting me know you've been a member for 27 months. And yes, anybody wants to join the club, just hit the join button. You can go to intuitiview.com and you can look at it and see what it's all about. Hello, everyone. Okay, so Music RN Diana asks about spiritual guides. Most want me to know or recognize neutrinos, but I'm going to do kind of a general overall because it's not really for personal things. It's more for general spiritual questions. So I'm going to ask my guides what maybe we all need to know in the next few months, and what we need to kind of watch out for. Maybe just give us a kind of a heads up for the next few months. So they're saying to be very aware of perception, because there are going to be things that we can perceive one way, or we can perceive in lots of different ways. They're talking about things being chaotic and saying if you look at it one way, it's chaotic. But if you have a different perception, perhaps, we don't know the full story yet, or, this hasn't come to fruition yet, or we're not sure where this is going. It's kind of like allowing things to be as they are, and also understanding that there is a bigger picture that we can't see. So it feels like make sure that we're kind of stepping back and taking different views of different things that happen. And they're talking about things seeming chaotic, or like there's no rhyme or reason. Why is this happening? That kind of thing. But they're saying there's always a way that things fit together. So we just don't have all the pieces of the puzzle. So they're trying to get us to not see things so much as on the surface level, to try and step back and see a bigger picture. That's going to be very important over the next few months. Okay, I'm going to ask for anything else that we may need to know. It'd be good for us to know. Okay, so they're talking about over the next month or so that it's a great opportunity to realize potential. So they're talking about that, though, in a positive and a negative. So they're kind of wanting us to lean into the positive and try to be positive and be up and be looking at the bright side, because there is something about this month and things that are going on, because they're showing me like stars in the sky and things like that. So things that are going to be going on around the planets and stuff that is great for potential. and realizing potential, but it can be great potential or not so great potential. So they're like, lean into the positive, have a positive attitude, and lean into these things that lean into the positive. I'm sorry, I've got shadows and whatnot on my window. So I hope that helps for the next few months. Yeah, planetary influences, definitely. Definitely, definitely. So we may see kind of a mixture of things coming to fruition. It sounds like that are both positive and negative, because it can go either way, but it's a time for realizing potential. So whether it's potential being the biggest jerk in the world or potential being a saint, that's what's going to be in the air. So lean into the positive. Okay. Um, okay, let's do this one. What is the best way to strengthen your connection to spirit? That's a great question. So they're listing off ways, but as they're saying it, I can feel kind of like, like easier said than done. Like these are the things, but like it's easy. They're easier said than done, but these are the things. So they're talking about being unconditionally loving, being very accepting of other people, and whether we understand them or not, being very accepting of the expression, the way they've chosen to express themselves in this lifetime. So again, that kind of bigger picture. Um, um, it, they're talking about embracing connection, because we're all connected. And so when you embrace connection of the person next to you or people around you, you're embracing spirit, you're embracing the all, you're embracing source. It's all connected. So when you have this warmth and embrace of the people around you, you're connecting with spirit, you're embracing spirit at the same time. Okay. They're also talking about really finding and being in your joy, what brings you joy. And we're not talking about happiness, right? Happiness is fleeting. We're talking about joy of spirit. So those things that really speak to you in a very deep way. So whether if you're an artist, when you paint, or if you're a gardener, when you're outside digging in the dirt, or if you just love the sunshine, these things that kind of fill you up. No matter what's happening in your life, you can always turn to this thing and it will fill you up. Your pets, these things that bring you kind of almost an eternal joy, something that's kind of it's bottomless, like it's always there, and it can always be brought through by these things. So that's another way that is great for connecting with spirit. That's interesting. So they just said humility, being humble. And that's interesting, because you don't see that trait that often anymore. At least not. There's a lot of look at me, look what I can do, that kind of thing in our culture right now, because of selfies and because of Instagram and because of all these ways to be seen, right? We're on one right now, right? But they're talking about humility, and I want to ask more about that, because I don't know if it's in the way that we think of humility or what they're kind of getting to. Okay, now I thought there was more to it. So they're saying to realize that as a spirit on this earth and as a person on this earth, you're no greater and no less than anybody here. And there's this perception sometimes that there is somebody that's better, and we're lowly, nothings. And then we also have the turnaround where maybe we feel like we're inflated and somebody else is beneath us, and they're saying there's never that. There's never that. It's a constant of everyone is equal because they're all here, expressing themselves in the best way that they know how, or in the way that the to their fullest ability. Some people are not where other people are in spirituality, and I'm feeling like even in spirituality, it's like, be humble, realize you're not above anyone or below anyone, that everybody is sort of like kind of in this fight, or in this arena to try to reach the fullest potential they can. And that so that we stay in that humility of realizing that we're not better, but we're not worse than anybody else. So those are some ways that we can be closer to spirit. And I do the best that I can to interpret quickly like this. Sometimes it's hard, but take the things that I'm saying that resonate with you, and just leave the other stuff and maybe come back to it. Okay. Okay. And so I want to just reiterate that these are kind of more general questions. If I'll try to generalize the questions if you ask like a personal question. So if you want to ask, you can, but I'm going to turn it to make it a little more, so it fits everybody, so we all can take something from it. But I'll try to answer it. Oh, that's a great question, Teresa. How does a person find their way back to joy when they are in grief? Okay. So they're talking about those two things being two states of being. Okay, so those are two different states of being. I think I know where they're going to go with this, but let me just let them. So they're talking about this as a process, and this the pull out of grief, or the steps out of grief, the stairway out of grief is they give me visuals. I kind of have to just go with it. It is step by step, and each step needs to be honored. Each step needs to be deeply felt, because it's each step has a lesson in it. It has something that you can learn and grow from. One second. It's interesting. They're saying that grief is part of what this planet has to offer. This experience of being on the earth plane, grief is one of the very rare things that we can feel. And it seems like it doesn't exist anywhere else except on the earth plane. So it's like they're saying it's like a jewel, it's like a diamond, because you can grow so much, and it's such a unique experience that we just would never get any other way. They're saying too, it's all about it, like enhanced understanding of ourselves, but also enhanced understanding of what we mean to each other. Okay. On the other side, they're saying it's seen as a beautiful and sacred process. So it's a very spiritual Um, it's a very spiritual process. The more you can lean into it, feel it, accept it, um, understand yourself through it. Um, you're taking advantage of the full experience of grief because it is so rare. They keep showing it's like a diamond. Doesn't feel like a diamond, but they're saying it's like a diamond. It's such a rare, unique, and amazing opportunity for growth. It just doesn't exist anywhere else. They're also saying that once you have felt joy again, once you move through that process and you feel those moments of joy again, know that your loved one is sharing them with you. That's when they can kind of step back in and be part of your everyday life and be part of the things that are going on. With grief, it's very hard. And I've heard this before, that it's like hitting a brick wall. They might get through here and there, or through a dream, or through physical things, leaving a penny, leaving a thing, and you get it. But so often it's like them hitting against a brick wall. So they'll kind of back off until you've kind of moved through that and you're back into looking back fondly on memories, pulling out something and laughing about it. They can then join you again. So they're saying that it's to move in back into joy. It's a double like blessing, because not only have you worked through the grief and you've had this tremendous growth and experience that is so unique to earth. So you've done that, you've gotten through it, and now you're back into joy, where you can kind of feel and reunite with your loved one again, or your pet again, because that's when they can kind of join you again. So it's beautiful the way they're showing it and explaining it. Hopefully I'm explaining it the way that they're showing it and visually showing it to me, that it's a very beautiful and sacred, unique offering that the world gives us, that the earth gives us, and to take full advantage of it by feeling every bit of it, working through it, moving through those steps that we take in grief, and honoring each step. Yeah. So I hope that helps, Teresa. And it again, right? They're changing our perception a little bit about what grief is, because it doesn't feel like that when you're going through it. But to know that, it lets you know that what you're doing is something so unique and so sacred and so special and so deep, that it it makes sense, because it is so hard. It is so hard. It's the hardest things we do here, right? Is getting through grief. Um, okay. Something I said to a deceased friend, the exact unusual phrasing was repeated back by a character in a TV show. Can you talk about the spirit sending messages through such things, or through songs, etc.? Sure. I'm gonna ask my guides about that. So they're calling it special, unique synchronicities that happen. And oh, it's also our own, I want to say, reaching into or touching different periods of time. So I'm not gonna understand this. I'm not gonna have them get too far into this, but it has something to do with so for example, I need to say the right thing to somebody, and because I'm so open to what do I say, that there you might be reaching in to a TV show, but reaching into the the ether, reaching into the cosmos, and everything is there, right? And so things that are closer to you, like a TV show you might watch, or somebody else you might talk to, or something else that you might have heard just previously or that will be coming up, are kind of available to you. And so that's one way that this can happen. But they're also talking about those unique synchronicities that are very, they're talking about angels, that angelic beings will use it a lot, because it's very tricky. It's very tricky, for lack of a better term. And they're also saying not to freak everybody out, but that our atmosphere, everything here, is more malleable and more movable and changeable than we realize. Everything seems so solid and in its place and exactly what it is, and they're saying no, no, no. Your atmosphere and the way things move and the way things are done here, they're very malleable and movable and changeable. And they don't they're doing like shh. don't say too much about that, because they don't want people to be freaking out left and right. But that is another way that they can move into our physical. Yeah, I'm getting chills with this right now. They can move into our physical environment, and it seems like, oh, wow, that's a really weird coincidence, or isn't that interesting? And I just found this and I was just talking about it. Our our solidness of the world around us is not so solid, basically. Let me see what else they want to say about that. We're talking about miracles, saying like, this is how miracles happen. This is how the unexplainable happens. It's not as solid as it seems. So I hope that helps. I think there's a lot more to that, but I think that's a good place to stop. Oh my gosh. Oh, thank you, Rayo. I try to translate the best that I can, but I'm telling you, I don't get like probably 50% of what I maybe get half or less than half, but I try. Andy, Kim, how do we tap into our inner divinity? How do we find the God within? Okay. So I feel like it's like there's two levels that you can do this on. There's one that's more, uh, it's more non-physical, I guess you'd say. And then one that's very physical, which is our eyes. Um, they're saying, look into your own eyes, look into other people's eyes. There is something there that we can tap into when we want to. That we can actually see it in other people. We can see it in ourselves. And they're like not they're like not a flashing glance. Look deeply. Look deeply. And then they're talking about this sort of other dimensional kind of a God within that we can tap into, and that is more on a Okay, that is more on a uh, being in the now, but also going deep into the now. Is that right? Deep into the now. So being completely present, but then also being kind of expanding and allowing yourself to really. Um, it's almost like falling into the present moment is how they're putting it. So it is kind of to me, this would mean probably, and they'll let me know if I'm wrong. Um, when you meditate, sometimes when you're in kind of a meditative state and you have uh, those moments where it's like, I don't know how long it's been. It's like I've been gone. You can have that too when you're in doing something that you're completely immersed in. If you're a painter, where you get deeply into a painting and it's like, I've lost all track of time because it's a timeless place. It's a timeless uh, dimension. It's a timeless part of ourselves. Um, they're letting me know that's right. That's right. So anytime you find yourself in that where you're so deeply engrossed into something, whether it is something you love to do, something you get lost in, or your own, going deeply within in meditation. Um, they're showing lots of activities that can do this. They're showing like cooking and gardening and painting and music and things where you kind of get lost in it and you lose time. That is a really uh, a, a, a signal to you that you're tapping into something that is eternal, and that is the God within. So I hope that all made sense. I kind of don't even remember what I just said, but I will go back and listen to it because I think that usually tells me that I got it. So I hope that makes sense. Okay. So I'm going to tackle this a little bit differently, but let's go into this. We're not really doing political, like specific political stuff. We'll do that Thursday because I'm on Thursday. But let's talk about war, okay? Let's talk about war because I want to know this too. So let's ask the question: why do we have war? Is it necessary? What is it? Why do we have it? So I'm gonna just have my guys answer, and we're just gonna ask the question: why do we have war? Why is it here? Why is it here after so long? Why is it here? So they just call it a repetitive state of disease. Um, on a practical level, um, to me, it seems like on a basic human level, we need to choose better leaders, um, and we need to. There's going to be a point in our future. We may not live to see it, but in the future of the earth, where it will be more, everything will be more kind of democratic. And I even feel like democracy in the way that we know it, or democracy in the way we see it now, is not really it. There'll be a time when it's kind of like all people decide, all people work together, and all people cooperate. Right now, we're handing over our power to other people, and it's going to be it's a process. It's going to be a process, and So one of the worldly things that's happening is that we're handing our power over to people that don't deserve it, that aren't worthy of it, that don't have they shouldn't have that. They shouldn't have that kind of responsibility anyway. So there will come a time when all people are working together and collaborating and coming up with solutions to things, and there's a type of cooperation that doesn't really, it exists on smaller scales but not on a big scale yet, because I even feel like no country has it yet, but it's coming. It's coming. And war, yeah, it's a symptom more than it's a symptom is what they're saying. So of dis-ease, being not easy, and I even wonder if this kind of goes into kind of being fearful and things like that. Those feelings of dis-ease or not feeling easy that can be in lots of different wrappers. They're talking, I mean, ego is a big thing. So a lot of people having a false sense of what power really is. They think that these, and I do even think like it's kind of funny, right? Because they think that ruling over somebody else or making someone else do something, that's power. And they're like, that's not power. That's just telling someone what to do, that, or, making someone do something. That it isn't real power. Real power comes from a completely different place and it has a completely different energy attached to it. That is not real power. So it's part of that as well. It's like figuring that out. It's going to take time. We really are kind of in baby stages in a lot of ways. So we may see war for quite a while in different forms. But it's all kind of, it's a tool. It's a teaching tool. And it is a symptom of dis-ease. It's, yeah. So I hope that made things more confusing for you, but it's interesting, right? And I feel like we may see the end to, some of the drama in the United States that we want to see. We want to see this person in jail. We want to see this thing done. We'll see a lot of those things, but we're talking about, all worldwide. When is this going to change? And that's kind of what I was asking about is what in the heck? Yeah, exactly, Janet DC. Exactly. That's exactly right. Okay, let me go back up here and see if I missed anybody. Sorry if I did. I kind of just doing this on my own, so if I'm skipping anybody, I'm sorry about that. Okay, so Pam, I know this isn't a question, but I just want to go into this a little bit. Pam Zibel. I never feel my angels and guides. I feel no connection or support. People that can are unlucky. Okay. So first, Pam, let me tell you that all of us, even you, even Pam, have support and are constantly, you have people and around you all the time. What is happening is that, and I'm going to ask what my guys have to say about this as well, but because whatever they'll say will be better than what I have to say. But what is happening is that in our physical world, right? We have physical eyes to see, physical ears to hear. We talk by making noises with our mouth. We have vocal cords. And when you are in spirit, there's none of that, right? All of it that's all gone because you've left your physical body. Okay. So the way that you perceive is completely different. So what I feel, Pam, is that what you may be trying to do is see things, is hear things with your ears, and feeling touch and feeling more things more physical. And what I would encourage you to do is, I mean, you can always like take a class and feeling energy and being able to be more sensitive that way. But what I would encourage you to try is when you're in a very relaxed state, like when you're going to sleep at night or when you first wake up in the morning, ask your guides and angels to come right up to you and almost like close in on you so that you can feel them and see what you feel. And try not to feel, go to your eyes, ears, the physical stuff. Try to feel on almost an internal level. See what happens with like your heart space. Do you feel warmth in your chest or a calm that comes over you? A feeling of just, that's usually what I feel when my guides and angels come close to me. It almost feels like I am not only wrapped in a hug, but it feels like everything is fine. There is nothing that is wrong. It's a calm that I do not have during the day. It's different. It's just different. So do me a favor, Pam, and do that. When you're at your most relaxed state, whenever that is, right after a walk, or if it's when you're going down to sleep, or it's when you're waking up, ask your guides and angels to come in close to you. And then just ask yourself, what do I feel? And you'll feel something. And I have to tell you too, that angels and guides, well, not so much, angels are a little different. You might hear ringing in your ears with angels, get a little lightheaded with your angels. They're a little different. With guides are extremely subtle, annoyingly subtle. And it's because their job is in the background. It's not to distract us and make us, see things and hear things and flashing lights and stuff. That is not their job. Their job is to be in the background, whispering to us, don't go this way, go this way. They are so subtle and so quiet. And just to let you know, Pam, they feel like you because they have been with you since you were born. So you have never known a time without your guides. This is for everybody too. You've never known a time without your guides. So they have always been with you. So when you have a fleeting thought that you think, oh, maybe I'll go and do this or that, it just came into my mind, that's your guides. It may feel like you, but I'm telling you, that's your guides. When you have an urge to do something, an urge to call a friend all of a sudden, an urge to go outside all of a sudden, that's your guides. That's not you, that's your guides. So they feel like you, and they're meant to be in the background. They're not meant to be distracting you from your life. They're meant to be supporting you and getting you to try to go the most joyful and easiest way possible, because life's going to be hard. It's going to be hard for everybody. So they want to help you try to avoid all these other harder things that could or would happen. They don't want you to do that. They want to try to support you in getting you to go and learn your lessons and do what you need to do here, but in the easiest and most joyful way possible, right? Because it's going to be hard no matter what, right? We're all going to lose people. We're all going to, get sick. We're all going to get hurt. We're all going to feel all these things. So they want to help in any way that they can, to help us not have to go through those pitfalls that we don't have to go through, or go that direction we don't need to go, because it's no good down there. But that's might those things might give you a better understanding of your guides. And angels are a little different. And that's why I say, when you ask them to come in close with angels, you might feel a little bit of heart kind of fluttering, or you might feel a little bit of dizziness, or get some ringing in the ears. There are other things that angels, but they can give off like more physical things. So with angels, it's a little different. But I promise you, you have angels, you have guides. And I'm going to ask my guides if there's any other things that they want to tell you. Okay, that's interesting. So they're saying that also, they're like, also, that people's guides are directed by them. So before you come to this earth, you might tell your guides, listen, back off this time a little bit and give me some room to kind of grow a little bit. Come in only when I'm really, really needing somebody to really speak to me. You give your guides, you kind of decide with your guides before you're here how loud they're going to be, or how much assistance they're going to give you. They're saying that guides have, they are bound by like a promise to always be there to guide and direct you. But the degree to which they are felt and heard and everything, there can be varying degrees. And they may be saying, this is you, Pam, that you had this conversation, you're like, back off. But there is you talk about this. You talk about the level to which you want them in your face, basically. There are degrees, and you talk about this. And always when you go into to make contact, and you want contact, and you're asking for guidance, and you're trying to make that contact, they're there. They're not going to just be like, no, you said we're not, you said not to help you, or you just said not to bother you so much. That doesn't change. But as far as guiding and directing when not asked, there are varying degrees, and you decide on these varying degrees before you come here. You have it's a big thing, and you talk about it. And sometimes they're even saying like portions of your life. Like when I'm in adolescence, I need you loud and clear. And later on, I really want to try to learn as much as I can and grow as much as I can. So I need you guys to back off just a little bit to let me have some experiences that I need. It's like that. I don't know if I'm getting it exactly right, but that's the gist of it. So it can be in and out, but they're saying anytime you call on them and want them involved, they're there. That doesn't change. Interesting, right? So I'm glad I asked. I was going to just leave it there, but I'm glad I asked them. Okay, so I hope that helps, Pam. Roxanne M says, what's the spiritual role of going through abuse? Control the spiritual role of going through abuse. They're kind of like vast and varied. And they're saying it is it can be a common tool because it's so impactful. It, it, when we're not, oh gosh, I don't want this to be controversial but I'm just going to say, when we're not in physical form, we really, really value the types of experiences where we have an experience and we need to work through it and then heal and release. We're even going through some of that collectively right now, right? In the country, we've kind of talked about that, which is very interesting, right? That anything like that is multifaceted. So not just abuse, there are other things too, addiction, things like that, where it's kind of it's multifaceted in that there's the act or there's the thing, but then there's lots of fallout from it and lots of opportunity for work and growth. And we really, really value that type of experience when we're not in physical form. In physical form, it's horrible and hard and difficult, and we wouldn't wish it on our worst enemy, and it's the worst. But in spirit, it's seen, again, it's seen very, very differently because it's seen as such an opportunity. And they're saying not only for it, and it can be, they're saying it can be varied, because it can be sometimes for the abuser, it can be to teach them something, have them go through an experience, whatever that entails, going to prison or going to, whatever. It can be kind of I want to learn this, so I'll be the abuser. I want to learn this, so I'll be the abused. And we're working as a team. It sounds nutty when you say that, when you think of someone being abused and working with their abuser as a team. It doesn't work on a physical level. This is in spirit, when we make these contracts and we work together and help one another to reach the goals or do the things we want to do. Think of it more like playing a part. That's the only way that it kind of works on an emotional level, is you think of it as being in a play and being in a play together, and I'll play the bad guy and I'll be the good guy, and you hurt me and then you'll have to pay. And it's these kind of and again, like these multifaceted tools that we have here that again don't exist anywhere else. So it's the opportunity to grow and to learn. And they've said in another session like this, where we come here to learn what we are not. We come here to learn what we don't know in the spirit realm. In the spirit realm, it is all love, and it is all support, and you've heard this from a million NDEers, right? It's all love. That's what we know. And I'll use the analogy that I love of the white room. If you are completely white, like think of the color, all white, and you're born into a room that is all white, no windows, no doors, just all white. The floor is white. The ceiling is white. Everything's white. You are white. How can you know what white is? That's all you know, until in comes black, in comes red, in comes green. And then you see the contrast, and it's like, oh my gosh, I'm white. That's what we're doing here. We're feeling and knowing and learning contrast, so that we can fully and completely know ourselves, which is what we are, what all of us are, which is just love, just the white, just the white room. That's what we all are, but we come here to learn. And so when you have something like this, abuse, where you can learn black and you can learn red, and then you can learn pink, and then you can learn yellow. It's like it's this multifaceted thing of learning, and it's so valuable and so and not only that, then you've got the communal learning, right? Where you have lots of people talking about abuse and sharing their abuse and understanding one another and coming together. And then you have groups that help the abusers and they get help. And it can be such a huge, multifaceted learning experience for many. And so but it's a tool. It's a tool. And it's a tool used over and over again because it has all these steps to it that you hope to move through when you come here to experience something as difficult as abuse. It's not, and I'm not saying you chose to be abused. That's not it. As a person, of course you didn't. You're just living your life, and there's abuse in your life. It's all because we don't have memory of that. We're just here. So we're at a play and we don't know the play is going on. We think it's real, right? So we're just going through it. And so it isn't as though we did it to ourselves. No, we're experiencing it as we're experiencing it. This is the experience. But the hope that we have as spirits is that we'll have this ability to move through all of these stages and come out the other side, having learned all of this and then letting it go. Because it does feel like once there has been healing, like working through it, and then there has been healing, there's no reason to go back. There's no reason to go back in your memory. There's no reason to go back and keep picking out things about it. There's no reason. Once that healing has taken place, that's it. And you don't have to go back there anymore in your mind. Okay. So I hope that was, yeah. It's a hard one. It's a hard thing to, and part of it is just the difference in, yeah. In between, physical and being spirit. So, okay. Yes, Joni says exactly. Forgiveness is a huge part of that. And again, right, that relationship between the abuser and the abused, that's there. I mean, once the abuser has abused, has been the abuser to someone, that forms a type of connection. And you're right, that forgiveness kind of releases everything. That healing it releases you. And so, yeah, forgiveness is huge. Okay. Look at this one, and I think this is going to be our last one, but we'll pick this up next week because I plan to do this next week too. So just think of the questions you want to ask, and I'll return next week with more things for my guides. I'm glad. I'm always so grateful when because I get on here and I don't know what's going to be said and I don't know what's going to come up. So I'm always so grateful when I can hear them and when I can understand what they're saying. And, because that's always a fear. Even though you do this all the time, it's still a fear that one time you're going to get on and be like, I can't hear anything. Okay. Question. What can we do about a child who has cut off communication with half of his family? I haven't seen him in 10 years. Okay. Let's talk about that, because I know there are other people that I've talked to in appointments and things that either have had that happen to them or they have decided to step away from their family. So let's see what that is. So they're as as a whole, they're saying it's that when this happens, like say somebody leaves, you know, in their 50s and they never talk to their family again, and then they pass away at 80, they're saying that those when those things happen, or when those types of things happen, people regret it on the other side because they have kind of leapfrogged a an area where they could have had a lot of growth, or the people that they could have helped other people, they could have really learned a lot. They usually regret that. But it is a we come here with choice. We come here with the ability to choose, with free will, as we always talk about, but we come here with free will. So when when uh, when we're here, that's part of our free will. And they're saying it's usually when people have reached a point where um, they're unable to decipher a um, a solution. They're unable to decipher a solution, so they just leave, or they just get out. It's almost like they have come to the end of the road of what can I do. And it's also, they're saying, it's very much an ego thing, because it's very much a self-preservation kind of thing. And we're talking about when someone steps away from the family, right? When you're on the receiving end of that, it's harder because you can't express yourself, and it wasn't your choice. You're not making that choice. They're making that choice. They're saying, however, in when you're in a situation like that, you still have choice. You still can like leave the door open. Keep reaching out, keeping that door open, or you can also close the door and say, well, they're done, so I'm done with them, and that's that. They're saying the best, what they would advise as the thing that you'll be happiest with on the other side when you get there, is to leave the door open in some way. And whether it's just, saying hi, or saying, I'm here, I just hope you're doing well. Keeping that door open, it allows for things to come back, but it also will, when you get to the other side, it will show that you had an open heart. You kept an open heart. So it kind of almost feels like if somebody does that, don't let them make you do it too. Because it's not really the thing that Spirit likes us to do. Just cut off people, ghost people, basically. It's not a good idea. But it's they understand it. It happens because people come to a point where they cannot figure out a solution to either their own pain, the way they deal with people, the way they can't deal with people. It really is, but it all comes down to free will. And they're saying that what the best way for you to handle it is to kind of leave that door cracked open, but you don't have to beat your head against the door. You don't have to beat yourself up and ask why and what did I do, and turn it into your own ego thing. Don't do that. Just say, they're exercising their free will, and I in response to that, I'm going to leave the door open because I want to keep an open heart. I don't want to close myself down just because they're closing down. So, and I think that probably each individual story could be tweaked, and there's nuance here, right? I'm sure there's nuance here, but they're talking about this as a whole. Okay. Yeah, exactly. Sweet. And so that's exactly right. Some people, they have their own reasons for doing what they do. And so if that's, and like the guide said, It's when they have come to the point where they can't see a solution. They don't have any solution, or they can't see a solution, or they can't see another way. And so it's what they're exercising their free will, and that is okay. That is okay. But in response to that, you, if you're not the abuser and you're just a family member, you don't have to do the same thing back. You can leave that door open, leave your heart open to them changing or coming back or talking to you or whatever. Okay. All right. Thank you, everybody, for showing up. I really appreciate it on a Sunday afternoon. Well, Sunday evening for me. It's about 10 o'clock here. So, yeah, and absolutely pray for them. Yeah, whatever they're going, ask. And now we know what the prayer should be, right? Help them find a solution. Help them find a way to deal with whatever they're trying to deal with. Help them find a way, so that we can be a family again, or we can find a way to repair this. Yeah. So that helps us even with our prayer, right? What to pray for. All right. Thank you, everybody. And I will see you. I'll see you Thursday night for a very different kind of, a very different kind of connection, but it's okay. We got to do it. We got to do it all, right? We're in a multifaceted world. So we need to do that. Okay. What's for dinner? Oh gosh. Ronnie, not much. I had a cheese sandwich tonight. So there. All right. Thanks, everybody. I thought I saw Rob. Hey, Rob. All right, everybody. I'll see you on Thursday, and I'll see you. If you don't tune in for Thursdays, that's okay. I'll see you next Sunday. All right. Okay. Take care, everybody. Have a great Sunday. Bye.